I'm Stephen Tackett with the Audio Planet, and we're an online company that provides original music and audio for television and film. We've been around for 4 years, launched out of here, and we're to grow. So,
Hi, my name is Kevin. I am a content operations specialist. Just here to do the presentation. It's very interesting.
I'm Jason, product manager at IBM. I also have an app called Reach It's accountability platform to fight the disruption people have. It just so happens to I'm here for you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, he came specifically to see me, and he's happy to be here. Okay, thank you all. It is really exciting to get to know a little bit about each and every one of you. There's clearly a wide range of businesses in the room. That's really exciting. I also want to encourage you guys to speak up if you have any questions. You know, raise your hands, pop out. Whatever comes up. Okay. So help me help you as we go through this program. Before we go any further, because you were so gracious to tell me a little bit about you, I want to tell you all a little bit about me and why I am here on this stage. And I think I want to talk briefly just kind of about the last 10 years of what I've done as an entrepreneur. It'll be very short, I promise. But I'm just kind of reliving the last time I was on the stage, which was I think February of 2020. So like right before the big shutdown, I think. And I was here pitching for my hot sauce company, Baby D's Feasting, as a part of the Beta Blocks cohort. Entrepreneurs and that pitch night. So I have experience on the stage. I'm really happy to be back. That was my most recent business that I started. Now, if you go on to my LinkedIn, what you will see is that I am an audio engineer for an app. And what I started that app with, it's kind of a business that's in stasis, so I won't talk about that a lot. But I started that actually with one of my minority partners from the hot sauce company, who was also part of Beta Blocks. And my point is just to say that if I were to define myself in a word, and I kind of made this up this morning, so bear with me, but I would say I'm kind of an extrapreneur, and not extra like EXTRA, but extra like the placeholder for a variable in a formula. Okay, so I have done a lot of building of companies and a lot of growth in existing businesses. So thinking about where that started for me was after I graduated from OSU with my bachelor's degree in 2008, I had a couple businesses that I was working for, and none of them really worked out. I started being a DJ full-time, which I did for 10 years. That took me all over the country. That took me to Mexico, and I had a great amount of success. But I specifically found that my skill set was in building communities. So I was having weekly events where I'd have more and more people come out every week. And in fact, I think the last big community I built as a DJ is still embossed over there on the window at Chimera, and that was the vinyl brunch that we started in 2013, I believe. That was an event where we'd have a guest come out every week and play from their vinyl collection for 4 hours, and it was a huge hit. Okay, so that's kind of where I kind of cut my teeth learning how to build communities, which a lot of that is sales. I mean, you're really selling an emotion, an event when you're selling yourself as a DJ. I went from there, kind of took a hard left turn into education. I started working for Reading Partners. I was here for the first 2 years at Reading Partners, was in Tulsa, really helped develop that program in Tulsa. I moved on to another nonprofit where I built a GED program pretty much from scratch. That was in 2015, and just a brief background, in 2014, GED sold, the brand sold. So there was this huge disruption in the market for what they call high school equivalency exams. So like everybody around the country was just scrambling to figure out what they were gonna do and how they were gonna give people their GEDs basically. So I came into a really good opportunity in terms of how do I grow this from scratch? Okay, so this is where I was building for another business. But at that time, I also saw an opportunity to help create jobs. And that's when I started my hot sauce company with my wife in 2017, which we ran successfully up through 2020, when we decided to focus on our family. My daughter was born in August of 2019, and I've been a stay-at-home dad pretty much ever since then. And I'm really grateful to be back helping other entrepreneurs with their businesses, because it's truly a passion of mine. Anytime I can find something that's growing or starting, I want to be right there to help out any way I can. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Please don't hesitate to speak up, because we are here to help you. And I have a lot of experience in this stuff, so I'm not afraid to dive in deep. But we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so today's agenda, we're going to talk about the marketing mix. We're going to talk about inbound marketing, outbound marketing, creating a marketing plan, and key steps to closing a sale. Okay, I'm going to leave a little bit of time for questions at the end. Again, don't hesitate to speak up as we go. Let's see here. This is, I think it's a little bit off. I think we can manage it in terms of just the cut of the slides. Okay, so this is the marketing mix. No single activity is going to result in sales. You have to constantly try out different strategies and measure their success. So just some basics is B2C, B2B, or B2C models. So how many people in the room, just by those acronyms, know what B2B and B2C is? Okay, that's almost everybody. Just if you don't, it's business to business and business to consumer. Okay, and just as a high level overview, and it matters very much because it's a big difference if you're selling to a business or if you're selling directly to a customer or consumer. Okay, so if you don't know, if you're sitting there anything about your business, you should be able to identify whether or not you're selling primarily to another business or primarily to a customer. And we'll talk a little bit about strategies for both of those things, but feel free to reach out or speak up if you have a specific question as we go. So inbound versus outbound marketing. This is a real, and in our mortar program, this is a real kind of hot topic. So I kind of just want to give you guys the opportunity to tell me what you know about inbound versus outbound marketing. And Homer, I'm looking at you because I know we've already been through this class. And so this is a little bit of a quiz, but I wanted to ask the room, what do you guys know? What's inbound marketing? What are some of the versions of inbound marketing you've either seen or used in your business?
Reaching out to current clients and offering new or extended services to people, like the ones people already have contact with. That's what I did.
Okay, so reaching out to current clients who have already paid you. Okay, anybody else have a different understanding of what the inbound marketing is? Or another example of what that's looked like in their business? All right, so whenever we teach inbound marketing with the program, and the way I think about inbound marketing is having a marketing tool where your customers come to you. Okay, so you are, now outbound is a little bit easier to explain because it's easy to think of going out to the customer. You think of your historical sales person, right? So going out selling encyclopedias or a vacuum cleaner to the customer. Okay, the most recent example I can think of is I actually had my insurance agent come to my door and knock on my door, and that's how I actually ended up with my my insurance I have right now. And he was doing outbound marketing when he did that. Inbound marketing, for those of you who maybe have a software model or something more digital, that's going to be like a tool where you say, hey, if you need audio video in your home, here are the top 10 things that are new in 2022, right? And then that gets people to click on a free content, and then you can say, hey, give me your email, learn about my service, okay? And then we can reach out to you and potentially close a deal. Okay, does that make sense? Where inbound is where you put out potentially, I think of it as putting out like a free content or something, or it could even be an ad where people click on it and come to you. Okay, for the hot sauce company, what we did for inbound marketing was we actually did a lot of Facebook advertising, and we actually did some chatbot stuff. So people would come to us, and then we would actually engage them through a process and a conversation where they get to know the company before we actually ever had to have any contact with them on a sales basis. Outbound, the way I did the outbound with hot sauce was I do tabling events. So we really got our started. We really got a start with the hot sauce company here in Tulsa at the Cherry Street Farmers Market. So every Saturday was an outbound sales event. Okay, we'd go set up a table. We'd have tastings. We'd get emails, right, from people who were interested in it, and we would then send them emails at a later date. But a lot of it was people coming. We would going out to the market where we knew people were, and we were convincing them to buy our product. That was our outbound marketing strategy. Okay. We're going to go through a couple things in detail, or in a little bit more detail. Hopefully, we'll make it a little bit more clear. Okay, so social media marketing. This includes both. This is inbound marketing. Social media marketing includes both organic and boosted post, where you pay to ensure your followers see your content. Search engine optimization. This includes claiming online listings, researching the most popular industry-specific keywords, and including them in your website's headline copy. Content marketing, using stories, images, songs, or any other creative content to spread awareness of your brand. Referral programs, offering businesses or individuals an incentive for recommending your product or service to other businesses, and search engine marketing. So I just want to stick here with these real quick, because in order to go a little bit deeper and not just read off the slides, I want to give you guys specific examples of where I've seen this work in my own experience. So search engine optimization. Oklahoma's hot sauce. That was our first big one. We had that keyword selection when we started a hot sauce company. We did a lot of advertising to people in Oklahoma who were interested in peppers and hot sauce, and those two things combined to make a very strong marketing mix for us. Okay, so we had Oklahoma hot sauce. Anytime anybody Googled that, we were the first person or the first business that would come up, and we would also advertise to people in Oklahoma who liked hot peppers. Okay, content marketing using stories. This was something that I had a lot of fun with. And I find is really helpful when you're trying to build a community. Okay, so there's no better sales force than an enthusiastic customer base. Okay, that's been my biggest takeaway from any business I've ever started, is that people get excited about what you do and who you are as a business or a business owner. They will be excited about telling people about your products or services. However, you need to create content that uses stories so they know who you are and who your business is. Okay, we did so much of this stuff. I'm just flooded with images, and I was actually looking at some of the stuff last night. But just to kind of run through some of the most successful campaigns we did for content marketing for the hot sauce company, was the biggest one actually was the payday challenge. Okay, so that may sound as crazy as it actually is, and if it doesn't sound crazy, let me tell you, it was pretty nuts. We had a customer, an avid fan, who put our hottest hot sauce on payday candy bar. He posted the video in our Facebook group, and people went nuts. I mean, for over a year, we've milked the payday challenge. We made an email campaign. I was sending out paydays to people. We sold a ton of hot sauce because this guy just made a little bit of content about putting our hot sauce on a candy bar. And turned out the whole community kind of took this shift and became a community of people who put hot sauce on sweets. Like, it just became a whole thing. It took off. Some of the more specific stuff we did, I was actually just reminded that 3 years ago today, I launched and released, I guess, as the hot sauce company, we released the hottest all natural hot sauce ever created for public sales. And we put it up against the existing hottest hot sauce. We did a video of everybody challenging it, saying, yeah, this one's definitely hotter. You know, the secret behind that was that creating the hottest commercially available all natural hot sauce, while being a great sales tool, was not very cost effective. So just be aware that, you know, you can spend a lot of money to sell things, but you also need, and you can make products that are really, really cool, but you also need to make a profit, right? Most of you in this room are not running nonprofit organizations, and even if you do, you need to be aware of what you're spending to build the sale, right? Because for me, what I got really kind of myopic about was that we have to grow these really hot peppers right here in Oklahoma, and we're going to put them all and nothing else but them in a bottle, right? And that's going to make it hot. And I knew it would work, and we sold out really fast. And it was a great content marketing campaign, but I don't think it made me any money. In fact, I probably lost more money on that than any other batch of hot sauce I ever made. But it was fun, and it's nice to look back on the videos now. The point is that was really a big hook for a lot of people who were just getting introduced to hot sauce, our brand specifically at that time. Okay, referral programs, offering businesses or individuals an incentive for recommending your product. Okay, so this I think is going to be useful, most useful, if you have like a large profit margin, or if you have you know, a product or a service that has a high price point. Okay, the one thing that we didn't have this very successfully with hot sauce because there wasn't enough room in our margin to like give people enough incentive to refer us, but we had a good enough product that people did it anyways. So just think about kind of where you could maybe take your existing customer base, right, and then say, hey, if you like this and you refer us, you know, you can get a little, you know, nice token of gratitude or some benefit at a later date. Okay, these things are pretty common. I don't think I need to beat the drum too much on what a referral program is. There's lots of examples out there. Search engine marketing. Okay, let's take the next one. Sorry. And this is my fault. I kind of haphazardly checked these slides, so don't blame anybody but me. You know, we are, so search engine marketing is just paying to retarget traffic to your website. Everybody's had that experience where you look for something or even maybe say that you're interested in something, and then it's on every page you go to on the internet, right? That's search engine marketing. And then retargeting. Retargeting is a technique in digital marketing whereby advertisements on websites target audiences based on prior visual behavior. When we use retargeting for the hot sauce company, we would say, hey, if you looked at this specific product, right, whether it's our hot, medium, or mild sauce, that bottle is going to follow you around the website, the internet for the next X amount of time, or however long we pay for it to. And that helps most if you already have a lot of traffic going to your website. But it's definitely nice to, the point with let me stop and kind of give you guys a 30,000 foot view of a lot of this. People have to see what you're selling and that you're selling it to them more than once before they will choose to buy it. Okay, I think most studies say like 7 times. Okay, so that's the idea with retargeting, is that you're kind of getting a bit of a bump in the fact that you know they already like it because they went to it once, or they talked about it, or they typed about it, and that's kind of how you can save a little bit on how many times you have to pay for people's eyeballs seeing your product or service. Does that make sense? Seeing a few nods of the heads, great. Okay, so anybody have any questions now on inbound marketing techniques?
Are you going to give examples about how to handle the social media?
Sure, I can, sure. Do you have a specific question about how to handle social media?
How to search or specify a target audience. For example, I am doing social applications and I don't know how to sell there. For example, being told I'm going to have two machines. Yeah. How do I found it? I don't know.
Yeah, so let me just clarify that I understand your question. So you kind of are interested in how to use social media to advertise to specific demographics?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that is something I can definitely speak about because I have a lot of experience with that. It's been a couple of years, and this is an environment that changes fast. Okay, so I will give you the best information, and I'm happy to look into it with more detail if you want to exchange information later, because I would love to kind of know how that's changing and how it looks for your business. But when we were doing it, I mean, there's a couple of ways you can do it. There's a lot of existing demographic behavior that is stored on all social media websites, right? And if you have a business page, usually you have access to some kind of ad center or business center, where then you can see what those breakdowns are, whether it's something as easy as male, female, or an age range, down to for us as a household company, we had our 2 target markets on social media. And I'm not making this up. In fact, I will say I'm embellishing a little bit for the sake of the story, but it's about this specific. Was vegan metalheads, like people who like metal music and also were vegans, and truck drivers who looked like Santa Claus. And the second one was like truck drivers who like hot sauce, I think, or hot peppers, but they all look like Santa Claus. It was crazy. But my point is to say is that those things are kind of cooked into, they should be cooked into almost all social media business pages. And depending on how deep you want to dig into that, you can learn a lot. If you have the budget, I encourage you to pay somebody who has experience in it and works in it every day, because that was something that really I benefited from, was the knowledge of somebody who had a lot more experience in that space that brought me along and kind of mentored me up into how to use social media for advertising, because it's definitely a skill. And I've never done day trading, but I can only compare the feeling that it gave me to like what I would imagine a day trader feels like, because I knew that I could win customers if I could get them for 24 cents, but not 26 cents, right? If I was getting 26 cents a click, I was losing money. So it kind of can be a little, for me, and again, if you have different products, higher margins or higher price points, it could be different. But for me, it was like a kind of a stressful thing, but we found a lot of good success in a good mix. Does that make sense? Does that help? Okay. Thanks for asking the question. I really appreciate that. Outbound marketing. Okay, affinity marketing. Business partners share similar interests with goals of promoting business to members of a group. This is really popular right now. In fact, and I'm happy to give you a couple samples if nobody has any, but can anybody think of any businesses or business partners that you've seen who share similar interests with the goal of promoting the business to members of a group and how they've done that? Yes, sir.
Like the personal growth, Tony Robbins kind of people. You'll see like 5 speakers.
Yeah, that's a great example, actually. I think, the guys who have it really figured out are the conference people, right? The Tony Robbins, there's a couple of the ClickFunnels guy, Russell, something. They all, and they benefit from that great combination. Good example. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I've got one. I work with products, so I'll take products off. So like Rifle is a printing company, and Thermosol makes some clothing. They collaborated together. I assume that's what that means, like collaborating together. So both their members of the group, both their customers are get there.
Yeah, I think that's the basic idea of it, and I think that it's very promising. At least a lot of these businesses are finding value out of it. I see it a lot in like streetwear and fashion. In fact, like one of my favorite outfits is an Adidas Happy Gilmore collaboration, right? A 25th anniversary thing, and it was put out by a New York streetwear brand. So it was like a 3-way collaboration. Course marketing. This is sponsoring causes that align with your mission and the values of your customers. For this, I actually, started the Hot Company when I was working at my nonprofit job running the GED program. And one of the ways that I used this marketing channel was when we had our 2nd anniversary. We actually raised a bunch of money and donated it to the nonprofit. And it definitely aligned with our values as a company, and I believe that it really resonated well with our customers as well, and people had a great time. So think about what your mission is and values of your company are and how it aligns with your customers. That could be its own hour-long talk, right? Mission, vision, values, and how that aligns with your customers and the story you tell. But I think that it's a good opportunity to think about, how can I use the values of my company and my customers to give back, and how can I use that to drive sales and get more eyeballs on my company, right? Because I can guarantee you, even though we gave away all of our profits for our second year anniversary, that a lot of those people came back and bought hot sauce for the rest of the year, and we made money that way. So it's not always just about the sell. Sometimes it's about getting those customers in the door and getting that lead through a course marketing campaign. All right, earned media and public relations. Reach out to journalists who cover your beat and pitch the story on your business. My bachelor's degree was in journalism and public relations, so this is kind of my bread and butter. And in fact, my office right now is covered in the earned media from the first year of the hot sauce company. And it's one of the reasons why I love to start things, because you get to tell a story for the first time and you get to get people excited about it, right? And this can be true for every marketing campaign. Every marketing campaign is your chance to tell a new story, right? A new way to look at your business, a new way to connect with the customer. But I will say that earned media public relations requires a lot of legwork, particularly if you're not brand new. It's been my experience that it's easiest when in the first year of business. However, you can definitely tie these things together with the affinity marketing, partnering with a new existing brand or a community organization like a nonprofit or course marketing. So these things can all don't have to be separate campaigns. You can roll them all into one. And in fact, it's best whenever you do. But a lot of it's more, particularly for this type of outbound marketing, you kind of have to do it all at a certain level. You can focus on a little bit of one at a time, but you can't ignore the whole mix. And that goes on to paid media advertising. Okay, purchasing space in traditional advertising platforms like print, radio, and television. We never did this because we had such a large following on social media, and we did pay a lot for social media advertising. But it certainly helps just to know if you have a budget for paid advertising to use it, because like you asked about the demographic, there's really powerful data out there to help you maximize your marketing budget. Okay. I will also say that things like print, radio, and television are not dead. Okay, they have a place and a time, and they have a certain, certain industries would do better with those different outlets. The bigger the audience, the more local the audience. I think print, radio, and television are more realistic options.
Is it possible to measure the impact?
It is possible. And I will only say that it is, and I will kind of decline to give any more details because my information is a little bit about a date, but I was, when I was in the heat of like spending my marketing budget, was actively researching how trackable this stuff is. Some of it's more trackable than others. I will say that. You need to make sure that if you're paying somebody else, I think if you're paying anybody to do marketing for you, whether it's an employee or a contractor or a company, you need to make sure that you understand where your money's going. They need to be able to explain that to you clearly, okay? And if they're not, then just be aware, okay? Does that help? Okay. All right, conferences and trade shows. This is what I was talking about with the food events. Did one in Kansas City, did farmers market here every weekend. Every industry, and if they don't call you already, they will once they know who you are. Every industry has these kinds of events. They are different for different industries. They cost different amounts of money, and they have different value. Okay, but conferences and trade shows are certainly an option. You know, the other a big umbrella for that, I think, across multiple industries is like the fair, or the home and garden show. You know, there's certainly things that are more universal, but I would imagine that each of you has an industry-specific conference or trade show. And then direct sales, cold calls and emails, direct messages on Facebook or LinkedIn, knocking on doors, selling peanuts. Okay, this is I laugh only because it takes me to like back when Brian and I were in high school together. Brian and I went to high school together, and direct sales is just all about just the swagger and the pitch, right? But anyways, sometimes you got to do it, and it's okay, because hopefully you believe in your business enough to know that you are selling a value to your customer. You're not making them buy something. And sometimes it's just best to knock on the door, to send a message, to pick up the phone, write a letter, and I think that can't ever really go out of style, because a lot of it's about building relationships. All right. So let's get a little bit more specific. I'm taking my time. I want to leave this. I think you guys have been very engaged, so I will leave about 5 to 10 minutes for questions, because I want to make sure we go through everything. So creating a marketing plan. Step 1, identify your strategy. Remember the inbound and outbound marketing strategies. Step 2, identify your channel. What platforms of communication will you be utilizing? And step 3, create a goal. Remember to make it SMART. Now, just because I love SMART goals, by show of hand, who is familiar with what a SMART goal is? All right, great. That makes my heart sing. Okay, that's a solid majority. And if you don't know it by the acronym, I'm sure you guys as business owners know it as an idea or a concept. So it's just a specific, measurable, achievable, and realistic, time-bound goal. Okay. Now, this is important, specifically when it comes to making a marketing plan, because marketing is one of the areas of your business that can really get out of control if you don't have it packed up in something like this. Okay, you need to be able to run tests, right? And then whenever the test works out, you can make a larger, longer term goal, right? And if it doesn't work out, you need to make sure you don't lose all your money. Okay, that's kind of my big takeaway with the importance of